All right, welcome back to another episode of Poddy Majic. Very excited for this episode today. So I've got one of the all-time Wildcat greats. He's a current Shimane Magic player over in the B League in Japan. Boomer's absolute bloody superstar and one of the most professional and hard-working people that I've ever got to train and work with. Please welcome Nick Kay.
Hey mate, glad I could finally get on here with you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you very much for coming on. We just finished off a little training session ourselves, and it's good. Keen to get into it and hear some of these stories. I sort of heard half of these stories like when we're training and doing bits and pieces around anyway, but it'd be good to share them with everyone else as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you start working out 3-4 times a week together, all the stories come out at some point.
They do, yeah.
You've definitely kept a few hidden away just for
I was asking in the session just before. I was just saying, hey, have you got any real good ones to make sure you tell? And I was like, and he said, oh, you're there. So I said, stop right there, stop, don't tell me on the podcast, please.
Gotta save it.
Before we go into all your career stuff and bits and pieces, I think we should tell everyone how we met, because this is one of my favourite stories ever. I reckon out of any of the guys I train, this is my favourite story. So go on, you want to set the scene?
Are we talking from reaching out the first time?
Well, from the Wildcats MVP ball. Yeah.
Classic night. MVP balls, highlight of the Wildcats year. You finally finish off the season and get around, got to go do our dances and whatnot, and here's Jared coming around.
I was in absolute flight that night. Oh my god, that was some prime body match stuff there. Actually, I had my cards out. I was having shots of everyone. I was being a fucking absolute menace that night. And I think I came over to you and said, "Hey Nick, I'd never met you before," and I said, "Hey Nick, you want to do a card trick?" And I was like, and you're like, yeah, right, sweet. I think I've actually got the video somewhere as well.
I hope you do.
I do have it still. And I went, all right, here's the deal. If you get this card trick, usually I'm doing it for, this was back in the single days, it was,
We'll pick up
a little kiss on the cheek, something like that. Didn't quite want a kiss on the cheek from you, but I said, if you lose this, you have to come down and do a training session. And you lost it, and I was absolutely steaming, so I thought nothing of it at all. And then a few weeks later, he hit me up and went, all right, when are we doing this session?
Hey, I got to pay my debts. And
yeah.
You got us. I mean, those type of nights, the Wildcats ball, where you'd go on stage and dance yourself. So
yeah.
We'd enjoyed a few beers to get that liquid courage up.
Yeah.
You were definitely body tragic that night.
That was body tragic. That was. I was in the middle of the dance floor. I was going nuts. It was awesome.
Come here, and you punked me. That's for sure. I thought I had the trick figured out, and not even close.
Nah. But it was very good, and you're a man of your word, and I appreciate that very much. And came down, and then we've been training sort of every little, whenever you've come back for a couple of months and stuff. And no, it's been really good. I've got some little quick fire questions for you. So just like quick answers. Don't have to go, too much in depth with them. You play basketball all over the world. Run us through where you've been thus far.
Goodness,
everywhere. It's so different basketball compared to footy, because obviously footy it's like what team you're going to play for here, but basketball there's just so many leagues and so many everything.
It is crazy, and especially the fact I feel like AFL, NRL, all those sports, you're in one place and that's your job for the whole year. While these NBL contracts and stuff, they're really 6 to 8 month contracts, and you're off somewhere else, either working on your game or basically get another job. So Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Spain, the USA for a few years, college, and then just like little trips everywhere with especially the Asian qualifiers. I mean, Chinese Taipei, went over to Portugal. Goodness, holy moly, China.
It's literally just everywhere. And when you go to all these places, do you actually get to do any of the fun stuff, or is it just business? You're in there, you play your games, you're getting out.
It really depends on how long you're there for. Somewhere I never thought I would have ended up was Lebanon, and we definitely got out and explored that place as much as we could.
Yeah. So what team was that with?
That was actually the first time I got to represent Australia. We had a Asia Cup, just went around, just the same one as occurred a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Got a group together in the Gold Coast, and there's only a few guys that actually got to play for Australia before that, and we're all like, we do everything we can to try and make this team. Went over to Lebanon for basically a month, and every 2-3 days we got to play a game, and then it was basically one training a day and got to go out, explore and have a look around.
Sick.
Had a lot of fun. If we'll get into those stories later.
Yeah, wicked.
Good one there that
Just thought about. Oh, good. All right, we'll loop back round. We'll put a little bookmark in that. Hardest opponent you've ever played on? Is there someone that you just like? I fucking hate that cunt. Like, I just not quite. I know you wouldn't think that, but you just go. I hate playing on that. Like you come out with bruises, or it's just a tough night for you.
There's a few guys that fit that category. I mean, obviously
that microphone a bit close.
Yeah, a few guys that fit that category, but obviously like. In terms of just pure talent and stuff, I mean, Kevin Durant goes to that next level with it all and stuff.
That is sick. You played against Kevin Durant. You feel like,
all right, I'm in the perfect spot. I can't do anything wrong. I'm like, I've actually got this guy under control. And then he just raises up and you're like, what am I meant to do? Like, he's too tall. He's too long with his arm length and stuff.
And was that the Olympic stuff with the Boomers just gone? That when you played, or you played him before?
Even before that, when we were over in Vegas with the pre-tournament stuff. Like,
So we got to play. Did you play him there as well? Yeah. Oh yeah, of course you did. Yeah.
I mean, you just feel like you couldn't play any better defense, and then he just makes you look like a fool. And
yeah. He's just so long. Like he said, as soon as he gets his hands up, like he's just above everybody. And how tall are you?
I'm 6'9".
Yeah, you're huge, and he just gets it above you.
Got a picture from that game we played him in the Olympics, and I'm full arm length stretch contesting, and I'm probably the height of his head when he's shooting, and he's got another foot or two on top in terms of his jumper.
Wild, isn't it?
What am I doing out here? Just coach, get me.
Yeah, and is there anyone that's like that? You know, like I said, you come out with real bruises, and you're like, oh shit, I just played against that guy. Like every time that you battle with him, or
I mean, coming into the NBL first year, guy like Mika Vicona, I mean, it was just
tough.
It is, and.
For anyone that maybe doesn't follow NBL, Mick Vicona's like this vet guy from New Zealand. He played for so many years and he was just tough as nails.
I mean, you just knew if you weren't playing your best game, he was just going to kick your butt. Every rebound, he was hidden, going after boards. And it honestly just felt like you were just in a wrestle the whole game. But, I mean, it's the type of guy like you hate playing because how tough and physical he is, but you also love it because if you're not playing your best, then you're gonna sub off.
It brings your level of play out of you. Yeah, that's sick. And just so physical. So
physical.
And what's the best game you've ever played? If you've just gone, I was hot that night. What was the one?
I mean, goodness. My game, if you haven't noticed, isn't exactly about having the good ones. But,
please, he's too modest. He scores 20 points, 10 rebounds every game, just like.
I mean, probably if I had to narrow it down, probably that Sydney game 3, grand final game. Threes have been a bit hot and cold over my career, but that night I think I was about 7 of 8 or something, and just things were going in, feeling good, and
you outscored Bryce that night as well, didn't you?
It would have been right there. I mean, it's always tough to outscore Bryce the way he plays, and but it's just one of those games that felt really good. And I think first game of that series, I had a good shooting night. Second one, I think I was about 0 or 5 or something, and I was like, nah, not again. And just kind of felt that rhythm, and turns out to be the game that we kind of got to win because of COVID and whatnot.
And then, like you said, like with a game like that, if you're if you've been a little bit off with your shooting or whatever, how do you kind of have a quick turnaround like that and go and get everything, drop it in? Is there anything you did differently in between that, or you do if stuff like that happens, or is it just more that you just got confidence in your ability and your shot and everything?
Yeah, a little bit of confidence. We didn't have a whole lot of time between games. I think it was a Friday, Sunday. So
it was really quick.
We really only had...
And it's a big travel as well.
Big trip. So I think we only really had shoot around that Sunday morning, and I think it's more just a mental shift. It's going, all right, lock in, focus on all the details that you work on every day at training. And obviously when you got... They had a different style of play, so they were going to sit off... I think they were in like a triangle or two, so only really guarding Trico White and Bryce Cotton. And at the end of the day, we had to make shots and just got to the right spot,
and
got
you were
the
there.
Rhythm, and it went in.
That was the day. That was a good game. That is one of my favourite games I've watched. Being a Wildcat supporter, that was a sick game. Who's your favourite player to watch? Like any league or whatever, or someone that you played with, even whatever.
Favourite player to watch was always Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk, yeah.
He's just...
Gets it done.
Yeah, he just gets it done. And the way he's his game suited the way he wanted to play and the way was built offensively, and his step back, you could just manipulate teams to get the shot he wanted. And
I guess you kind of play that. You play a similar sort of role that what he would in team sense as well.
I think definitely the older I get, the more similar in regards to trying to get those open jumpers and stuff. But his just ability to create that shot using his length and size and that little step back. Obviously watched a lot of clips on that, and I mean, I don't have the jumper he does or anything, but it's just trying to pick up little things here and there.
Yeah,
so
and
always fun.
he's got some great highlights. Just that step back shot, bit of space, bang, knock it down. And he's he just seems like a real humble, good bloke as well.
Oh, I haven't actually had a chance to have a chat with him, but he just seems like that type of guy.
Yeah.
He's never talking shit, nothing, just goes about his business and
Just
yeah,
gets
what a
it done.
legend.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and there's a meme kicking around where it's like, Dirk, you know, have you seen that one where he's like, he still, even though he was earning X amount of millions of dollars, he'd still bring his wife's, you know, leftovers to the game or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen that too, yeah.
That's so good. Hardest coach that you've played for?
Hardest coach? Probably college coach. Just
what was his name?
Derek Clark.
Is he still kicking around doing coaching?
He's not doing it anymore, but I think he was the toughest guy because just sort of what he demanded offensively. Like defensively, you were climbing in, you were touching in, like everything you could do defensively, physicality, whatnot, conditioning and whatnot was always to the extreme, but that's kind of the college way.
Yeah.
And he's a tough guy to play for because he demands so much, but I mean, it wouldn't be a professional if I didn't go through that experience with him.
Of course, yeah,
It's kind of like your trenches. He puts you in the trenches, finds out what you're made of, and then we've got such a good relationship now because of what he's done and what he's able to help guys get out of it. So.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was talking to my dad last night with like the Adelaide Crows stuff that came out yesterday, and they were saying they did like, you know, the hell hectic preseason camps. They put them through the ringer and did this and did that. Could you imagine if like every workplace was allowed to sort of like grind the athletes, their employees, like sport does? It's fucking. It just wouldn't be allowed, would it?
No, not at all. And I think
so. It takes a real like mental toughness to to do what you do and get through and sort of come out the other end better.
It certainly does, and I think it's changed a lot over time, and even the difference between college and professional, there is a major adjustment in what you're allowed to say and do, but going through those hard times through that college system and whatnot and building that resilience has made it so much easier to become professional because you build those habits and then you can go and when you get in that professional unit, it's like it's on you. You can't come in out of shape because it's your job on the line. So you've got to do all those little things so you're ready to go. And so thankful that I had that type of coach to get me to where I am now.
Yeah, wicked. And college, you don't get paid at all for college, hey?
No, you don't.
Like they need to change that. Like,
it would be nice at the time.
But just a bit of something because like obviously they're like earn heaps of cash from the games and this and that, and also like for some of the guys they don't go on to have as good a professional careers like yourself. So it'd be nice just to get a little bit of the door sales, or the jumper sales, whatever.
Even just a little bit, just to survive off type thing. Like you got your meals and stuff. Like they cover a lot of those things, but then a lot of life expenses outside of there that you don't necessarily get. And I mean, as you said, a lot of people don't go on to become professional athletes and stuff afterwards. Yeah. So injuries and whatnot come into play. So a little bit of reimbursement would always be nice for it, but at the same time, like it is an awesome opportunity. I wouldn't change what happened at all. And I wasn't at a big school either, so it's obviously different between the big schools, little schools, and whatnot too. So.
Yeah. Sorry, that was Dad just leaving in his WRX. Oh, you can
still hear him.
You can still hear him ripping down the road. Oh my God, turbo that bloke. And best player that you've ever played with. Favorite, like I guess his favorite teammate, and then also just best player.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just say based on his just pure ability, it would probably be someone like a Paddy Mills. Just his ability when he gets in those boomers environments, he just. I don't know if he's flicking a switch or what, but his attention to detail, his focus, his just relentlessness in executing what he needs to get done is just unparalleled. So, and then obviously when you go back and watch him play and you watch the highlights, you're just like, this man can just flat out play.
He can, yeah.
I mean, he's just such a good player.
He just seems to get like better as well, don't you think? Like he just like seems to keep getting better somehow. I don't know how.
I don't know. Like I think obviously he's very detail oriented, and the work he puts in off the court, you don't get to see how much time and effort he puts in. And but when he gets to the games, it really shows in those environments, and he puts in so much time and effort into that Boomers program that he's definitely one of those guys that you love playing with because of it.
Absolutely. We'll get into some more of the Boomers stuff a little bit later on, but I've got some other stuff I'm going to bring up with you in just a second. Cool. We'll have a break. So I kind of hear that you're a little bit OCD around the house. I hear this is just from what I've been told.
Just what you've been told. You've been reaching out to Em, have you?
Yeah, sources. True, not true.
Very true.
Very true. Cool. So, have you got any examples of things around the house that I don't know, that just drive you insane?
Drive me insane, or there's a list of things. But I like folding being a certain way.
Yeah.
So
I've heard about the folding. Yeah. Tell me. Describe the fold.
There's just certain ways things need to be folded, and I much prefer myself doing it. So we got a bit of a routine. Em washes and then puts it all in the basket, and I fold.
Yeah.
Sometimes she decides she wants to help me, but
interesting. Well, I've got a towel here because I want to see. I want to see what a good
it's
fold.
Nothing too bad.
Give me this. I want to see what this. I want to see what this fold looks like.
Nothing even crazy.
Yeah.
I just need things to be even.
Even, yeah. Okay, so run us through. So we're going length of the towel, right in the corner.
This one's a bit short, but for example, if it's a longer one.
The towel is inferior. Sorry.
If it's a long one, you just get the triple and you get the 1, 2, folds over nicely, nice and flat. Next one goes on top.
That is a very nicely folded. I'm telling you, if that is not how I'm folding towels.
And then they'll have to be the same, and then shirts and whatnot. But then we'll come in and fold a few things, and then next minute I've snuck in and refolded them all, and I'm a little OCD, and then the old dishwasher needs a bit of order to it as well.
Yeah. I can understand the dishwasher part of it. Yeah. Beck just kind of just throws like Tupperware lids in the top. Just to go, it doesn't wash.
Otherwise, you only get like half the stuff in there. So.
And then there's always just like a bit of pasta that's just stuck on the fucking lid somewhere.
Kills me. And I hate the fact that I am so OCD, but it's just part of me. So
it's just part of it. I've also heard another one of just on the OCD is odd socks.
Yeah, why?
Hate that?
Why?
Right, well, I've got one Under Armour sock on here that's like this, and then I've got one Under Armour sock that's the other type with the logo down the bottom.
Definitely do.
Is that going to drive you insane for the rest of the thing?
People, but back to the laundry part. I will not fold M socks if they're matching. I just throw them to the side and wait for her to get matching socks. Or she loves the foot massage. If they're not matching, she doesn't get the foot massage.
Yep, yeah, fair. I've got another one of is it true? Is it true that like when you were in the Olympic Village and the after party, apparently you were a very naughty boy to Chris Goulding, apparently. Apparently you led him astray, which I don't know how much I believe that story. I went, don't know about this, but apparently you led him down a dark road when you were there.
Man, I think Chris is leading everyone down a dark road that night. Rolling back into the village, if anyone was leading the path, it was that man. He made the most out of that night, and I'm sure you've seen the pictures. He definitely
he was having a good time. Yeah,
you had to though. Like the environment, like we literally roll back into the village. We were hyped, like the beers have been flowing and whatnot, and then we roll in. Basically, every sport Australia had been finished. There might have been 1 or 2 left, and the downstairs section was packed.
Yeah,
the Eskies lined up, and we were ready. We were just like,
let's
started singing, started drinking, and then the rest of the nights was just a blur pretty much.
Just going, awesome. So that one's not true. You reckon that maybe he was maybe leading you astray?
There were a few people leading astray, but I was more of a sheep that night than anything.
I can see that happening.
Peer pressure does not I'm one to give in to peer pressure, as you would know as well.
Yeah.
All
right. Yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to take this. I feel like I'm doing a half bicep curl with this weight. It's supposed to be like when you put like
on the ground, it's getting a bit heavy.
Oh, that's so much
better.
I was actually getting a cramp in my hand. I was holding it there that much. So, I guess for people that maybe are not that into basketball, what position do you play in basketball?
Like power forward.
Power forward, yep. I guess like what is the best attributes with your personal game?
In regards to my game, like offensive rebounding is probably a strong suit, and then I'm definitely more of like a team focus than individual. We were talking about it earlier. Playing a bit of one-on-one earlier this morning, and honestly, I'm there, get the ball, and I don't even know what move to make. So I need a bit more practice of that in the next couple of weeks before getting back to Japan. But setting screens, trying to get guys open, and then making reads out of that team environment is definitely a
big
strong
time.
suit.
Well, I think that's definitely. Well, from watching your stuff as a fan, it's just like you just do all the stuff that's without the ball as well. It's all like you said, the blocks, the screens, the the hellbound and defense, all that sort of stuff. So, what I think, what I love about basketball so much as well, and I'm sure you're the same. Pretty much anyone can just, even if you're not into basketball, if someone's listening to this and watching it and they're not into basketball, come to a basketball game and you'll go, I love basketball, or you can understand it straight away. Like it's not like, there's little bits and pieces with the rules and that, but it's not like footy where you have to grow up watching it. Otherwise, you're not really going to be into it. You know what I mean?
It's pretty simple to follow and understand. I mean, there's little rules here and there, but literally you go to a game, and after the first game, you'll know enough about it to be like, oh, this is what happened. You'll have to pick up on a couple rules here and there, like
all
what
the
a foul, why is that a foul, or
technical
something.
things.
But it takes you a game or two, and you know exactly what's going on all the time, and it's an easy game to follow. Especially you get into the Wildcats and stuff. You got 13,000 people screaming, and I mean, basically any time there's a call against Perth, and you're basically going off anyway.
Nuts.
So yeah, it's an easy one to follow.
And if anybody goes to a Perth game, if there is 10 supporters of the other team in the whole 14,000, that's a big turnout for the other team. Literally, if you could spot 10, that would be a big crowd that the other team is drawn.
The Red Army is a great way to describe it. It's for a blue arena, the thing is straight red when the crowd's in there. So
it goes nuts. It does go nuts. And what do you reckon's like your best venue that you've played in around? Because you played in all over the world with our college, and if there was like a crowd that you're like, oh, I love that crowd. What was the one?
I mean, some of those Wildcats games are definitely up there. I mean, doing the Marvel, we did the 50,000 plus people at that game. That was something special.
Unbelievable.
And then I was fortunate enough to make a championship game in college. And we had a good turnout there. You're on an NBA court playing in front of 20, 30,000, and that was such a cool experience too.
And the colleges, the supporters over there, they live and breathe that shit as well.
Too,
yeah. And just going onto your college stuff, where did you go to college?
Went to a D2 called... it was called Metro State at the time. I think it's MSU Denver now.
Yep. So. And you were roommates with Mitch McCarron, is that right?
Yeah, so...
Which I didn't know, which I only found out when I met Mitch at your wedding the other week.
Yeah, we kind of both knew a coach from Oz, and he was like, head over here, and we went over the same time. Next thing, 4 years later, we're pretty much best mates, and we just spent the last 4 years, had such a great time, and now... Yeah, unreal. So got pretty lucky with that one.
And then from college, your first pro team was Townsville?
Yeah, up in Townsville. So
Townsville Crocs,
Yeah, it worked pretty well. It was cool. I mean, very different to what I was first expecting. I came out thinking, all right, professional athlete, there's no more drinking, no more nothing. And then get to Townsville, and I think the first week we were out on town about 3-4 times. I was like, this is different to what I was expecting.
I think one of the questions I got here right now was, I heard you were the man around town in Townsville for a bit. That was...
I mean, if Jonathan Thurston...
I think you told me that, actually.
I wish. I mean, in Townsville... King of Townsville was always Jonathan Thurston. If there was a number 2, Mitch Norton, he was the prince. So,
was he? Nordo, loved it.
He used to organise just these little cards at the local nightclub. You basically got $100 a week, $5 basics or whatever, and we were every week. Somehow we were in there, skipping lines, having a great time. But it was a great transition. From, And I mean, having him there and being from Townsville, he definitely got us into the community really well. Met a lot of people.
He's from Townsville,
He's from there, so his family and everything. And I think met so many cool people up there because of that. So it was such a good place to kind of first learn about the NBL, get involved, and kind of start that career off. So
yeah, definitely. Cool. And so that was the first team that you and Mitch had played together was in Townsville?
Yeah, first played against each other a couple of times, and I think we might have done like a trip over to the US together once just for like a 2-week type thing, but that was really like the first time we actually got to spend a lot of time together.
Yep, and you pretty much played in most teams since,
which
is
bizarre. We just followed each other around the world pretty much from then on. When I went off to Spain, it's probably the first time we hadn't been on the same team in... Feel
weird or what?
It's definitely weird. Like, even off seasons, like we talked about before, like you play in the NBL for a couple of months, like 6 months, then we'd go over to New Zealand and play on the same team. So not to be on the same team felt weird, but nothing a few messages and phone calls.
Yeah, exactly. Some separation anxiety going on.
He does call me all the time asking me to come back and missing me a lot. But Sash was definitely third wheeling. His fiance, he's definitely
partner.
third wheeling for a while there.
Yeah.
I've definitely got the flick since then.
Yeah, and the Townsville Crocs, they folded.
They did. Yeah. So that was pretty crazy in itself. Norton and I were sitting in my apartment in over in Invercargill, New Zealand. Sitting there, and suddenly I get a message like, "Hey mate, I know you got a contract for next season in your mailbox. You're waiting to sign, but club's just folded and basically null and void now. So you're out of a job." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I got Norton there. And I'm like, "Hey mate, like, you might want to get onto your agent. We've got some news." And next thing, gone. And I was so ready to go back. I was having such a good time there, loving life, loving basketball. And then
how many years were you there before that? How was that?
Only one.
I was only one. Oh my God.
Everything was planned to go back for another 2-3 years, and I couldn't wait. But yeah, things happen in sport, and such a shame because it's such a cool community. But
it did sound always like it was like from anybody else that I've sort of heard sort of talk about Townsville stuff, that it was that real community, kind of like what Cairns has got, you know, at the moment.
That's
with that
how
sort
I felt
of,
there. And you wanted to do the best by the community. It was such a cool place to live, and felt like we were really building something up there. Like we had a solid first year, and then we were ready to go and have another good year, and we had some good guys coming in, and suddenly it was all done, and that part of the career and life was over. Yeah,
and then from there went to Illawarra and moved with Mitch Norton as well, and had a couple of years.
We tagged along again down to Illawarra, moved there with Bevo, and him and his relationship with the coach from Townsville kind of really pushed that over the line.
Yeah, of course.
Pretty good first year. We managed to make the grand final, and Bryce decided to drop 44 or something on us, and I don't think I'll ever forgive him for it.
Yeah, no, that was also a good game, that one.
That one could have been a little better for our half, but I'm glad he kept playing well because he won us another couple of championships.
Exactly.
So.
And then who approached who for you to come to Perth from Illawarra?
I think
Did you express some interest or anything like that?
Yeah, basically it was just had a 2-year deal in Illawarra, and season finished, and free agency opened up, and they reached out, talked to a few of the guys like Trev, and then Matt Nielsen was a huge factor in that.
You're pretty tight with him, hey?
Very tight. Talked to him a bunch throughout the year, and just he's such a good player and has such that love for Aussie basketball and player development that he was like, come here, we'll help you work on your game. This is where we want to get you to. This is what we'll work on. And basically just chatting with him and knowing the career he had, it was almost a no-brainer. I wanted to go there and wanted to learn from him, and I definitely grew so much personally and as a player because of it.
Yeah, wicked. And when you got to Perth, back-to-back championships as well.
It seemed pretty easy once you got here, didn't it?
Yeah, you rolled in and just went, bang one year and hit it the next year.
Give Bryce the ball and set a screen for him.
Yeah.
And
obviously it was a good fit for you.
It was. The system, Trev's flex and stuff, just be able to set screens, get to the right spot, team environment. We had such good culture going on. We had guys that just winners, like guys like Damo, Jesse, Bryce, that just everywhere they've been, they've just had so much success. So to have those guys around.
It's about having that real core group of players, I guess. And then because basketball, again, for anyone that doesn't maybe play, they chop and change the rosters all the time. Like from year on year, you might have 50% or more players are new from, coming in for that year. So I guess having the same people around for a few years definitely makes a big difference, doesn't it?
They knew the place. They knew what was expected. They know the community so well, and they just turned up. When it came down to business time, it was go hard, play well, get it done, and then you could enjoy the time after and stuff. So real family environment. And I mean, I've bought a place here, living here now, and I feel like at the end of the day, Perth will be home when basketball's all said and done.
Yeah, wicked. Very good. That makes me happy. We'll keep doing these sessions. That's good.
Keep rolling.
And you were named in the Wildcats. Jesus, did they not know we're doing a fucking podcast? Seriously,
right? Like
rude.
rude.
And you were named in the starting 5 of the Wildcats' best team of all time.
Yeah, I mean
that's pretty cool.
Making that anniversary team
because that's huge because they've had a lot of players that and you were there for the 2 seasons. Yeah, you're there for 2 seasons. I mean, you obviously made a pretty good dent in.
It definitely helps when we were successful in those 2 years. So, and then coming off, obviously, this was done after the Boomers and winning a medal and stuff. So we'll keep with the fond memories that all helped with that. But there's so many good guys that could have made that team and stuff. Yeah. So just to be even included in that, like, it's going to mean a lot to me, and it also means a lot to all the family and stuff too that helped out throughout the way.
Absolutely. So. And your coach during that time was Trevor Gleeson, who was, arguably the best, the best Wildcats coach of all time.
You talk about the team, and he was the head coach of that. So just the success he had as a coach in the NBL, and obviously now he's over at Toronto, so he's doing well for himself.
And you got on with Trevor, or I heard he's a very hard man.
He is. He's tough.
Expects. He's got an expectation of you to do things.
Yeah, he expects you to be the best you can all the time, and it doesn't always go well with certain people and stuff, but that's the type of coach that I love because they don't. This is how we're doing it. This is what we're doing. No bullshit. play. And it's obviously, depending where you are on the roster and stuff, like the leash is different lengths. Like, obviously, when you're talking about a guy that's down in that 10th, 11th spot, it's a lot tougher to crack. And
Absolutely.
the level of accountability is tough for that. But then when you're a guy like Bryce or Damo, that gives you that leeway to play your game and do what's required because you've earned that trust. But Trevor's great with me. I catch up with him all I can. I caught up with him earlier this week and had chats and stuff, and I got a lot of respect for him because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the 2020 championship was a wild one. So for anyone that doesn't know how that series went down, you were versing Sydney Kings, and this was just so unluckily as all the COVID stuff just hit Australia, and it was literally in the middle of the grand final series, and you played a total of 3 games. We're up 2-1. They banned crowds from... Yeah, so... There was one game with crowds?
Yeah, first game was with crowds in Sydney. We come back, we're basically... It's game day, and it's basically COVID's hit. We're sitting there like, we're not even going to play tonight. Next thing, crowds being kicked out about 2 hours before the game so they can't come. And we're like, it was a rough game.
You can imagine how I was feeling when I got told that. I was spewing.
And it was such a tough one to get focused for because you didn't know what's going on. You're trying to organise tickets for family, whatnot, but you just couldn't. So.
But again, it's like, I'm sure you've probably got used to that a little bit with, the other seasons that you've played since where it's been crowds and no crowds and whatever. But that was the first, and you were in the middle of, the biggest game.
It felt like you just rocked up for a training and
was it weird?
Day, but you've got the other 12 best players in the league going up against you, and they're rolling that season, playing well. I think they were premiers at the time, so
yeah.
They came out ready to go, and we struggled that one. But thankfully, that third game, we got a bit more used to it, and we could get rolling for that third one in Sydney.
And then, so how that series ended, because it's a best of 5 in the NBL. How it finished was that they scrapped. Sydney said that they didn't want to come back over. Pussies. I said it, not him. And then from there, they sort of like. They award because you're up 2-1 and they awarded you guys, but also you weren't coming back to Perth and beating us in Perth after that. Last game,
we were feeling very confident about it, but at the same time, it is tough to win. And they had reasons for not coming over and whatnot, but we wanted to play. They had reasons not to, and then it just came down to the NBL with what they wanted to do. So we were obviously very happy with the result. They weren't. So. And
then how did you find out? When was the When was the moment that they told you that you're the champions for this year?
Even before that, we got back on, I think, the Monday morning or Monday afternoon. Tuesday morning, we were in shooting, and then about lunchtime, we get someone over Twitter like, NBL season's going to get scrapped. They're not going to finish. And we're like, hold up, wait, what?
You love just being sitting in a room somewhere when you hear things, don't
you? Mate, I feel like I find out more goss off Twitter than I find out anywhere else these days. So if you need some goss, get on Twitter because it'll tell you everything you need to know, or at least every rumour. But we found out the day after that we won, I believe, and obviously a weird time of year and whatnot, but even before that, like, once season was scrapped, got all the boys around and stuff and had a few beers, and that was the other weird thing. Like, it was COVID time, and before all the rules got kicked in, it was like, I feel like we had guys in the garden having a rough night, that's for sure, that night, because season finally been done. It was such a weird cutoff, but it's obviously sad for guys like Damo and that who then didn't get to actually have that farewell that a lot of people deserve to have.
Yeah, big time. And was it as satisfying or not really? Like, obviously because you have directly the year before to compare it with, and that was like, you won the game, cool. Was it as satisfying or not?
No, it wasn't as satisfying the way you find out, but it was...
Because the crowd is the whole thing, and the whole being at the day and the atmosphere and
doing the trophy.
The whole thing,
Yeah, that part you didn't get to experience. And that's kind of what I meant about Damo. Like, you would have loved to have had that moment for him, because the year before with Greg, you knew it was his last game. You wanted him to go out on a high, and we weren't able to give that to Damo just the way it all worked. But to still get the win and stuff, it's still down as a championship. And, I mean, I'd much prefer to have won it than for there not to be a result.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How weird would that have been if there was just no result? I would have been riots. There would have been riots. Sorry. I would have been leading them. And then with the Wildcats as well, you weren't just successful on the court; you're very successful off the court with the Wildcats because I didn't know this story. I didn't know the story until your wedding, and Mitch Norton told it that you met your now wife, Em, when she was the masseuse for the Wildcats.
I know.
That's
what
time.
A coincidence. Like, yeah, it sounds dodge for sure. But,
it does sound dodge.
So she's come in and worked one day and like, my goodness, like what a smile.
There's usually good looking trainers down the clubs.
Next thing, kind of just she's come in a few times and a few chats here and there, but just reached out, asked if she wanted to catch up, and she gave us the old denied. Didn't want it. Nah, can't do it.
Yeah, just keep the string along. But keep it professional.
For some reason we kept talking. We kind of just enjoyed.
The massages got deeper and deeper.
I wish I was thankfully, she's a lot nicer in person than her massages because, oh my goodness, she gets India, and I struggle to move afterwards. But it is a different way to meet your now wife. But honestly, like, so happy that we were able to meet and stuff because we get along so well. She definitely. Like, we didn't catch up for months. We just kept talking.
I don't know how but also when you're away as well, just recently, I don't know how you did that because she was stuck here and couldn't come over and watch you play for a bit.
Maybe it's because the way we started out, actually. It was because we didn't catch up in person for so long that it was like, well, are we going to do it or not? Because it's at a point where we both get along so well, and then we did, and we just got along like a house on fire. And now...
And the massages were good, so it was...
I'm the one giving massages these days. She's always, my neck's a little tight. Goodness.
So. Very good. That's good. We'll go into some of the Boomers stuff in just a second. So from the Perth Wildcats, you went over and played a season in Spain, so you did that. That was obviously a bit of a different league to what you're used to.
It was so different, and then obviously time of year
and the COVID stuff. And,
probably wasn't the ideal situation to go at that time and stuff, but also... I'm so thankful that I did because it prepared me so well for the Boomers heading into that season and stuff. But definitely a different league. The style over there is completely different to the NBL, and it took some time to adjust.
It's so amazing that the different leagues have such different styles as well. Like it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole European thing. Like I just kind of thought like it would still be similar to Oz. Like I'll be able to come in, play that faster pace and stuff, and everyone's getting in touch. Everyone's doing this. But when you get over there, it's a lot slower, a lot bigger bodies, and then so much 1-5 ball screen and your spacing over there is so different. So definitely it was tough to adjust to, but again, it helped me so much with my basketball career.
And absolutely. And you didn't play in front of a single crowd that entire year, right?
No, like we have a few family members occasionally. I don't think Em got to a game till basically January, and I think she only probably made 5-6 games all season, so it was tough to get. Obviously, you're still trying to adjust, and you're trying to get hyped for these games without anyone
and
there.
Just no atmosphere.
And you're going up against your best players, like you're going up against your Barcelonas, your Madrids and stuff, and these teams got salaries that are through the roof compared to some of the lower teams, and sometimes that crowd just kind of boosts you, gets you that energy and stuff you need, and it was tough to get that, but so a different season, but also like going up against some of those guys, it was awesome.
It was good for that preparation for the next thing. And then that leads me into my next question, which is your Boomers campaign. So, which I think is the one that I think everybody would be so keen to know all about. How did that campaign start? How did you know you're in the team? What was the prep like before it? Because you had a camp before, in
even
Austin?
Before that, like I'm leaving Spain. We're in heading over to the US because obviously still COVID. We're still in isolation time at Oz. So basically... Em's taken off about a month before. I'm like, I'll be home in a month. Then leading into it, I'm like, hold up, like I'm gonna have to do 2 weeks isolation. Then we're heading over to Vegas like a week later. I've got barely any time. So Matt Nielsen gives us a call, mate, come work out with me for a couple of weeks. We'll keep you in shape. You'll be in a good spot heading into this. And I was like, all right, we can do this. Sweet. Yep. Book a flight, about to take off, and then you get basically a message come through like, have you checked this website? Like, apparently you can't leave from, I think it's a Shenzhen country to the US. You got to have 2 weeks, 2 weeks in a different country. And I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
So day before the flight, I'm like shitting bricks. I'm like, where the hell am I going to go? What am I going to do? End up, my agent in Europe was like, come
Have
here.
you got a different one?
Got
in
a
Europe
guy over there
and
that helps
here?
out, and big time guy over there. If what you'd think of like a mafia presence, this is this guy. Like, he's like, come here, come over here. Oh, you can stay in one of my apartments.
Yeah,
it's
no
fine.
problem.
No problem. You can train with my team. I own a team.
No problem.
You can train with them. Yeah. And so he let me come stay. I flew over there, put me in an apartment, and I hadn't actually met him in person.
Yeah.
So I walk in. He sends one of his guys to come pick me up. Meet him in his office. He's sitting there, and I'm
they're in a grey suit and have an AK-47.
But he was so relaxed. Like, he was just sitting back on his chair, like, what do you need? I'll help you. Whatever you need. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you want to go to this? Like, it was like a championship game that night between two of the best basketball teams. Like, it was like Red Star versus someone else, and it was a huge game. Stadium packed. He's like, you want tickets? Let's go. And I was like,
that's cool.
This is, yeah. And I was like, this is unreal. Like,
yeah.
He just had this presence, and you're like, he's big time. And like, he probably manages, I'd say, 30 to 40% of, or maybe even more, maybe 50% of the players in Europe.
Wow,
so
that's huge. Yeah,
he's big time, and he was so good. He let us stay there for a couple of weeks, and went over to the States and worked out with Matt Nielsen, and then went to LA where we did our pre-camp, and that was where found out I was going to make the team after a couple of days of training, but definitely wasn't easy days. They were tough.
And what was that like the camp?
It was cool. Obviously, some guys were at different levels. Like, we had a couple of guys like Matisse who came in for the last couple of days of it. We had guys from the NBL who came in for the last part. Then we had some guys like Poddy who had been finished for a month and needed some days to work into heading off to Vegas for the next part of the camp. So there was different levels, but everyone was kind of working in, trying to get as ready as they could. But obviously it was great, like going in, getting that work in, getting those workouts, and that's kind of where I really started to feel some confidence heading into the whole Olympic campaign. So.
Yeah, wicked. And then from that, over to Japan, I've got so many questions about the whole Boomer stuff. So that was the first medal that Australia's won in the Olympics for basketball, which is like so sick. What was I guess, like, you spoke about the culture of the Boomers before. What's the vibe? What are they telling you? Why have they got such good culture? You know, what are they preaching?
There's the leadership group in the Boomers is, I feel like it's unparalleled. Like when you got guys like Poddy, Deli, Baines, Joe, and even before that, like guys like Matt Nielsen and stuff that are putting so much time, effort, and money into it. Like, we get there, we're in...
Because you don't really get paid for the Boomer stuff, particularly, compared to
you get some per diem every day to get through meals and whatnot. They take care of you with flights and stuff and everything.
It's more the prestige of doing it.
But then you got guys like, as I said, like Poddy, like we show up, we're doing this this pre-camp, and he's like, all right, I've organised dinner for the night. So we get a bus to go out and dinner, do that. Then the next night, we're off to... this big house up on the hill with a pool, and they've organised all this Aussie food,
sick
coffees, few drinks, games, all this stuff that Basketball Australia isn't able to organise and stuff, but they've gone out of their own pocket to organise this thing, because this is the type of thing we get around each other, we get to hang out, we learn more about each other and stuff, and it's just that kind of thing that they don't have to
insane.
do.
So they do that. They pay
out of their
for
own
stuff.
pocket.
Wow, that's
they
awesome.
Set it up, and I mean, then you head into those games, and you're like, well, you've given so much for us to be here and to be tight as we are. Like, I don't want to let you down. I want to do everything I can. So you've got a chance to win a medal and do this because of the type of guy you are in that. So.
And you could definitely see when you did. Win the game, the relief and the excitement on all those older guys. They were loving it.
There'd been a lot of heartache to get to that point, and I guess being in the World Cup a couple of years before that and experiencing how the devastation in the locker room after to come out the other side of it, like
all the hard road was bloody worth it.
Absolutely, like just experiencing that, and I always thought like I could get to one Olympics, I could finish like that was unreal, like. I'm done, but it kind of gets there and you're like, damn, like
that was sick.
That was awesome. I would love to get back. So it's putting all that work in so you get that, hopefully get that chance again. But there's so many good players coming through. It's going to be so tough, but doing all that work to hopefully give yourself a chance just to be in that environment again.
Absolutely. Well, I guess you're in the leadership group now, though. Didn't you just play in one of the qualifying tournaments, and you were the captain, though?
Yeah, we do.
In Japan? That was in Japan,
Yeah,
wasn't
it was in Japan. We had a group come over and stuff. Obviously, all these windows are a little bit different with who's available and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just trying to be involved with as much as I can. Like, there's obviously that next group of guys that are going to start coming through and stuff. And I want to be involved and try and kind of give what I've learnt from the other guys.
Yeah, and pass it on.
And pass it on in, I guess, my own type of way. And
the Boomers legacy.
Obviously, the main group's going to be there for all the big events. We've got a World Cup next year, and all those big dogs will be back for that. And but you got to win these games, these World Cup qualifiers, to get to that position. And I mean, when we started in the Lebanon thing for the Asia Cup, we were told, like, you might only play these games. You might never get this chance again. I feel like every time I go into these games, it's that kind of attitude. It's, I might not get another chance again. Make the most of this one, and if you get another one, it's just another bonus. So you make the most of it.
And there was the hashtag that you guys were all doing. Was it gold medal vibes, gold only vibes? What was it?
It was gold vibes only. GVO.
Gold vibes only. That's right. Yeah, that was kicking around.
It was nice. I think that was just the leadership group again. And we had that attitude about it the whole time. So it was a cool vibe. And I mean, that's little things like that's why I think we end up winning the medal, because of that attitude.
Of course, it's a proper team. And basketball can be, as much as it is a team sport, it can be quite an individual sport as well at the same time. But I guess, like you said, when you're having all that core group of people, and that's what they're preaching, and you're doing it all together, then that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
I think that's why we were able to win so many games and be so competitive, because we had that compared to some of the other countries that didn't have the time and continuity that we had.
Yes, exactly. And like the buzz here when you guys were playing was up for that team. Like, it was everybody was watching the Boomers.
The messages coming through were unreal, like the support and stuff. And I guess
you gained a few followers in that time as well.
Thankfully, that was nice.
Yeah, I did see that.
Keep that climbing. The more you're in, the more they keep going up. So.
And the guys that you're like closest in the team with, like, did you really click with anyone?
I mean, there's a few guys. Obviously, the NBL guys had a bit to do with beforehand.
Of course.
But then guys like Bainesy and stuff, which hadn't had a whole lot of time and stuff with, like, they're great people. You just don't get a whole lot of time to spend with them outside of it. And then, I mean, guys like Joe Ingles, the man, just always thinking about other guys and stuff. Like this year, sitting over in Japan, he knew I hadn't got to go home since the Olympics, and next thing I've got a care package show up at my door with Tim, like everything you could think of. There's Aussie food, and that kind of got me through for a period there. So it was unreal. And then you got bringing in guys like Matisse and that, like, just awesome guys. Like, first time
how was Matisse?
Man, he's such a good dude. Like, he's a big time NBA guy, playing heavy minutes, like up there for Defensive Player of the Year. And then
he's so entertaining to watch.
He is. And then he rolls in. First time I meet him, he's 5 minutes late to the bus, freaking out because he's late right here. Shows up in a pair of socks and a pair of shorts, and you're like, mate, where's the rest of your gear? And he's like, I just wear socks. Yeah. So he literally just had a pair of socks and his shoes in his hand, and I think he might have chucked the shoes on, like, right before he walked into the restaurant, but that's kind of his vibe he goes with. If he doesn't have to wear shoes, he's not wearing them. That was kind of cool.
I watched his like first day on the Boomers, his YouTube one that he did. That was pretty funny, actually. That was pretty funny.
He's always got his camera out. You never know when it's on or off, so you can't know what's going on, but he's
really good at it as well. Yeah.
He obviously had that in the bubble stuff he had going too, and definitely worth a watch. He does some cool stuff on there.
It was funny because he was like, I don't know who who half the guys are. I'm going to this training. I'm playing for Australia. I'm going like, and then he came out like, that was sick. Like,
and then like you're literally there like, you got no idea he's feeling that way either. And then kind of like a week later, you're like,
you watch
what do you mean? Like,
you watch the clip and you're like, yeah.
So that was kind of cool to see as we're going through it too, because you're like, no man, like, all right, let's do some more stuff. Let's go do this. Let's do that. And the relationships from kind of that stuff's been unreal ever since. So
that's awesome. And the Olympic Village, because obviously that was like peak COVID stuff with that Olympics as well. Were they held tight with you coming and going, and like who you could talk to and all that sort of stuff?
Pretty much. The amount of times we got in trouble at the Village,
really,
the mask situation. Yeah. Like there was this coffee machines downstairs, and we'd head down, grab a coffee, sit there, have a coffee, and just people watch. And the amount of times we got in trouble, we had to move upstairs because our masks weren't on enough, and we had to hide out. And then heading towards that bronze medal game, I think someone told us, like, mate, like, people are ordering food, you're all good, you can go pick it up from outside. So we were like, oh, cool.
So you weren't even allowed to go out the village at all?
No,
like
not
it was
unless you had like a
pass or some shit.
Yeah, not unless you had a pass pretty much.
Yeah.
Or you're with your team, getting in the taxi, and you're straight to your event.
Yeah.
So, but us, we'll call him Mr. X. Mr. X decides that it was all good. People will head out and grab some soda waters. Love the soda water. Yeah. So, cool. We'll go get some soda waters from 7-Eleven. Go grab them, come back.
Was it actually soda water or was it?
Yeah, it was definitely soda water. Like, we were legit, like, soda water was gold in the village. Like, they had these, I think they were called Icy Sparks or something, but these things they felt like gold. You needed something that wasn't water, and these things were just a saviour. So we went and got them, people went and got them, and come back into the village that night playing Uno, and the hockey thing comes out where guys have left the village, gone to get beers, and now they're in isolation, can't do anything, can't see anyone. Night for a bronze medal game.
You're like,
in this room, we're like, oh God, we're about to get a message. Every time the phone goes off, we're suddenly looking at each other like,
who's been out?
Oh God, what's going on?
They know about the soda water.
We're done. We're done. We're not going to play tomorrow. We've ruined everything. And then, thankfully, nothing came about it, but there were some nervous moments there for sure. Every message you thought that was the one.
That was the one, yeah.
We need to talk to you.
Exactly. They don't know about the soda water yet, thank God.
Oh, God. I don't think I've ever been that nervous in my life. It was up there in freaking out. Like, we're all in isolation. We've ruined this. And
I can imagine. And then the other story that was a bit weird with your team was, or interesting, was Aaron Baines, because he sounds like he was just the most unlucky bloke ever with what happened to him in that week.
Couldn't have got any more unlucky, you'd think. Like, you'd always say, like, things come in three, like, and he got the most out of those three in the worst possible way. I mean, I think it was game one, half-time, chucks some sanitizer in his hands, trying to do the right thing, goes up, dunks it, slips on the ring and does the biggest fall we've seen. I don't even know
He's
how
a big bloke as well.
Big boy.
A lot of force coming down.
Man,
yeah.
Comes down just on his shoulder, and I don't know how he even played the second half with how he came down. Next day, I think we're in the weight room, throwing some weight around, and you know how he throw, like, he's a big man, throwing weight around. Gets to the top of one of his bench presses, sneezes, drops these weights. If his shoulder wasn't sore from the first
That is the worst.
day,
I've sneezed in spots like that, or like coughed, or like, it's not good.
He was, and then I don't know how his shoulder survived that one. And then obviously the third situation, we went into the locker room, slipped, and basically hospitalised, and he's had the last year. So, and
he fractured his a vertebrae in his neck, wasn't it?
I'm not even 100% sure
exactly
what happened.
It was his back something, or his neck.
Neck couldn't, and then we come to the locker room, no idea what's going on. He's out of it, and we're like, what the hell's happened here? And then he was off to hospital, and then didn't get to see him till after the whole thing, pretty much. Just a few messages here and there and some phone calls, but obviously, so unfortunate. But he's back with the Brisbane Bullets, so that's unreal.
That's huge. That is huge.
What a way to come back. And I mean, he's such a deserving guy to be able to fight through that type of thing and come back. So good on him. But
yeah, that's what it should be good when he's playing with Brisbane this year. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, will be a tough matchup for whoever's going up against him.
Yeah, big time.
He's a tough man to battle
big
against
bloke.
in the post. So had a few of those shoulders and stuff, and elbows come my way, and getting out of the way is the best.
As long
option.
as he doesn't sanitize his hands, he'll be fine.
Stay away from the old sanitizer mid game.
So for the Boomers campaign, what was the best game?
Best game, obviously, a lot of good ones, but that bronze medal one for sure.
Sick,
just kind of the way the turnaround from the night before or 2 nights before against USA, where bit of a heartbreak.
Well, you're probably a bit unlucky to not be in the gold medal match and at least get silver, because you're probably the second best team, really.
Yeah, we were just in such a good spot, and it was going well. Even that game against USA, we were up 15 or something, things were rolling, and just suddenly turned, and we just couldn't quite find our groove after that. And obviously, credit to USA, the way they played, they deserved to win. And
there's just stacked full of just talent as well.
And the guys they brought in from even the Vegas to the actual Olympics made such a difference to them. And obviously, we felt confident going in, but just couldn't get it done on the night. But going into that Slovenia game, it was one of those, we're not leaving this without a win. And the way Poddy played, the way everyone stepped up, and the unselfishness of the group was awesome. So that was And just the memories from that game, that's probably one of the biggest ones just to remember. So
yeah, and obviously, like you said, the heartbreak of sort of losing to the US that game before to go into like the gold medal match, and obviously that was the focus, and it looked like it was actually a really good chance for that to happen. After that game, what was the vibe of the whole group like? Was everyone hella flat, or was it more just that's all right, we've got this next chance? Like what was the vibe with that?
it was probably just a 5-minute patch there where it was kind of like.
Because you can't not be absolutely fucking cut by that. Yeah.
And as you said, like the mentality of that gold vibes only was so strong that it was like, that's what we're here for. We're here to win gold and that's all.
Yep.
And then suddenly that's gone and it's like, well, how do you change from that being your main focus to now to be happy with bronze? But just the way Gorge came into that locker room, and he's a man that can just kind of, the way he
So it was Gorge that really got it going again.
It was like, kind of gave a speech and we're just like, you know what, like we got a great opportunity here, and then it became rose gold vibes only. And
rose gold
we rolled with it, and
good.
Everyone got ready and ready to go. Like, it was fun.
Well, I think that's like such a that just shows what a great team that was, because you could very easily just get so like, bronze medal game, we were almost at the gold, like you could get flat about that, but to turn it around and have everyone on the same page with it just shows what a great team that actually wasn't it?
It was that 5-minute patch, and then we left that locker room focused solely on that next game and getting a win. And obviously, we kind of touched on it before, the amount of times the Boomers have been in a situation where they're playing for that 3-4 spot and just haven't been able to get it done. It was time for it to change, and then Paddy just said,
went
it'll
nuts.
be on me. I'll make this happen. And then everyone just
game. He just said, boys, jump on. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
He did.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what was the party like from that? Because it was close to the very end of the Olympics, wasn't it?
It was.
Most people had gone, or as in
there was probably, there wouldn't even be half the village left. It was a lot quieter. And
did you have quite a few people come and watch that game though? Because there was people that were staying around.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky because you could pretty much, I think it was you're allowed to go watch one event. They let you go watch one event. You just had to put in what. And because it was so close to the end, a lot of the staff and workers were like, you know what, we'll go to this one. This is the end of pretty much the end of it. We'll all go along. And then by the time we got back to the village, beers were being thrown, songs were happening. And then one of the rooms there, I don't know, like they must have just condemned it pretty much, because there was stuff everywhere. There was every sport in there. Was in this one room drinking, having a good time.
That grotty,
it was that celebration that everyone just closed the door and pretend it never happened. It was cool. It was great. Like what an event. And then the last day was pretty much just carry on. We got to all enjoy, because you had 48 hours to get out, and we basically had 48 hours of celebrating, and then 2 weeks to recover for everyone that went back to Oz.
And best on ground, who was it for the after party?
We just Chris Goulding. He was
he?
But there were a lot of guys that just had a good time. Like Ingles was solid. I mean, everyone just had a good time. And it was good to see that you could just, all that work and stuff had paid off. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's sick. To be a fly on the wall on that celebration, I reckon would have been pretty good. I reckon some of those boys could party. And now, obviously, you're playing over in Japan for the Shimane Majic of all places. It couldn't be more perfect. Literally a team almost about me. It was great.
I even got you that jersey coming back and whatnot, and it's cool. Like,
just have to change the G to a J and we'll be sweet.
I'll talk to them this year.
Yeah, talk to them. See what they can do. See if they've got that European go.
I don't know
what do you need?
We're actually sponsored by the man who created Pac-Man.
Yes.
So I don't know if you'll be able to outbid him for
I don't know if I've got
and whatnot.
Not yet anyway. No, you have to sell a few more meal plans and shit.
Yeah, maybe a few more. Get on board, Poddy Magic. But yeah, it's a cool place. The people are unreal. The community gets behind it. We get good turnouts to all the games. And
awesome, yeah. It's good to be playing back in front of crowds, I imagine, as well. Are they hella loud? Are they really into it? Or is it different to here?
Obviously a little bit different, because I don't think they were allowed to yell this year at games. So they all had the clappers and stuff, and they were
not allowed to yell because of
COVID, I guess. Like, they're all wearing masks. It was weird. And it's just a different culture. Like, you got indoor, outdoor shoes. Everyone turns up to the game in one shoe. Then they walk in, change their shoes to indoor shoes. Then they're banging on the clappers all game. We got these big intros, like NBA intros going on, and then we play the game. And you could play the best game of your life or your worst game, and they'll support you no matter what. So It's a cool place to be and play. So
that is cool. That's cool. And some of the teammates that you've got at the moment, have you played with any of them previously, like around in various places, or this is a fresh team to you as well?
This year coming up is pretty much very similar group to last year. We've got a lot of returning guys, which is good. Just that continuity always helps, and kind of talked about it with the Wildcats. It's a big reason why they had so much success. That. So we're hoping that we can kind of roll on the momentum we had last year, making the playoffs in the top 4. So.
And who's the big dogs in the league? Who's the team that you want to beat?
Ryuku was really good last year. I think they only lost like 5 games throughout the year, but lost to Brex, Utsunomiya at the end. So they're good. Chiba's got some good players. They got Mooney. And they just picked up Vic Law as well. So
huge.
They've gone
the Wildcats.
Gone full Wildcats. So that'll be a tough game this year too.
Yeah, wicked. Nice one. And then for yourself, with this season coming up, is there anything that you've got a real focus on that you're wanting to achieve, anything like that, personally and also the team?
Obviously team-wise, we so close last year. Winning that championship would be great. Love to have a good shooting year. Put a lot of time and effort into that this off-season, so hopefully can convert that over and make a few more.
Yeah.
And
if there's a bench press contest at half-time, you'll get that as well. After
working hard on these bench presses.
After these sessions,
hopefully they pay off. There's some big boys over there playing against some 140, 50 kilo boys every week. So that put on a little bit of weight hopefully helps a little bit.
Yeah, good.
But I find a lot of individual goals and stuff are impacted heavily by winning games.
100%.
If you win as in your team, individually you get better and you have success. So World Cup next year, would love to make that team, and it's about building and being in a good situation for that.
When is that next year?
I think it starts next September, so we've got about 12 months and just got to keep trying to build and get better and better. So at that point, ready to go and hopefully make that team.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, me and Beck are going to try to come over for sort of March or whatever, try to catch a few games over in Japan, which would be good.
Definitely make that happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully be able to show you around a few good spots too.
Yeah, should be really good. Yeah, we'll come.
Where it's at.
I want to come to a home game and I want to go to an away game. I want to be the only Shimane in the building going nuts.
They do.
I'll be yelling too.
They'll have no idea what you're saying, but you'll be making noise.
I'll be making noise and I have a blue shirt on. So that's good. And do you think at some point you'll come back to Perth or the NBL, or you're just going to see how everything what happens in the next little while?
I'd love to get back here, honestly. Perth's home.
Yep.
Get back to here would be ideal. Obviously, situations for club and whatnot, like,
of course,
they've got to do what's best for them. But same for myself and the family. And then it just comes down to where the family's at too. Obviously, that's a priority.
But also, if you probably look at your own career for the last 3 or 4 years, you probably couldn't have gone, I'm going to go there. Like, all the things that you've done, that's not like a plan that's happened. That's just kind of been opportunity next one, isn't it?
It's not the greatest way to live all the time, because you sometimes you want to plan.
I don't know how you do it.
Not knowing where you're going to be in the following years
can
have its moments, but it's also so exciting at the same time. You get to experience things that you wouldn't experience any other way. So make the most of it while I can, and then when basketball's done, kind of sit back and reminisce on where I've been,
all the good
what's
times and all the kids hustle around. Come around here. I'm gonna tell you all the boomers. Come around here. Have a seat. Go, fuck's sake, Dad. We heard these ones before.
Everyone. I'll have one repeat. Have a few good ones ready to go.
And you've got World Cup tournament coming up end of next week.
Yeah, pretty much.
2 weeks away.
About 2 weeks away.
Exciting.
Yeah, it should be a great time. Hopefully.
Do you know who else is in the team for that one just yet, or not quite sure?
Don't even really know. Just put my hand up. Should all go, or hopefully all go smooth and get in there and whatnot. And then I think we play in Bahrain and then in Bendigo. So hopefully we get some good turnouts to the games. And as I said, all the big events are awesome. It's the chance to win medals and do all this stuff. But if you don't win these qualifying games, you put yourself in a rough situation, a tougher draw. When it comes to the World Cup and Olympics. So
it actually goes towards the Olympics as well, these ones as well?
I know the last ones
came towards the
World Cup.
Yep.
And then the World Cup impacted, I think, Olympics or something. So they do interact somehow. It's pretty much just important to win these games. You win these games, you put yourself in the best spot to then advance through the major tournaments. So what seems like easy games are very important in the scheme of things.
Yeah, of course. Well, mate, thank you very much for coming on the pod.
I appreciate it.
It has been a great little off season that we've done the last couple of months or whatever. We've got a couple more weeks, so very keen to see how the year goes for. And I'll be cheering with me bloody Nick K jerseys on. Don't worry about it. I've got one of every team just about now.
And then all success goes back to you, right? That's how it works.
100%. Literally, since you started training, look at all the great things that's happened for you.
I don't want to say it's just you, but really, if you want to get better, it's about turning up to.
You just have to come in the garage. That's all you have to do. Just come in. Doesn't even matter about how many times. You just have to rock
turn up, and you will get better.
Thanks, big man. Well, thank you very much. We'll keep banging out until you go away.
Maybe not banging it out, but we'll do something.
Thanks, big man.